garden and reading and drawing. So it's been wonderful.
Oh, that sounds really nice. It's nice, isn't it, to get some sunshine when it is really hot, but we can't go far from where we are, so we're kind of stuck in one place. But I think if we've got an outside area,
you're so lucky for that.
Yeah, and I think I've got a very sunny flat as well. I get a lot of sun streaming in, so that's always really really lovely. To just be able to bask in the sunlight. So, and so I was just thinking, we've got the theme today of awareness, so we've been working with that theme today, and I just think it's a really strong and powerful theme for your classes. And I think I was just sharing with you before we came live that I actually often do your Cultivating Vitality practice on a Monday morning, and I know the very first time I did that, I felt really naughty. It just felt like I just felt so indulgent, but it is the loveliest practice for for doing what it says on the tin. Really, it really does cultivate vitality. Although it's very restorative, you do feel very charged up, and we have a comment as well saying exactly that two incredibly calming yet energizing practices today. Thank you. Absolutely.
You're so welcome. I think a lot of people do get confused by wanting to practice in the morning. It kind of goes against the system that we subscribe to, but I think it is quite a bold and radical time to practice, because in a very soft way create this sustained energy from resting at the beginning of the day, and it just lasts and lasts and lasts throughout. And actually I saw a comment on that class from a woman called Tracy saying that she did the practice in the morning and then she went on to do like a 10K run and like all of these things for the rest of the day. So it is quite powerful and can easily be overlooked and considered something to do before bed, but really, for me anyway, it's been such a powerful tool to have in the mornings and during the day.
And it can feel really hard, can't it, in the morning to really slow down and take a deep breath and just allow things to emerge and be, and maybe that's why they are so calming and energizing, because we come back to ourselves. We feel really centered, and I think that's it is really magical. And yet I think we often believe that the way to get energized is by maybe starting with a run rather than starting with something so grounding in many ways.
I guess if we look at the hello, I just saw a comment pop up as well. I do, when we look at the theme of awareness, like when we start with rest, there's this ability to really connect to our essence, to this state of presence, so that we can carry that through the rest of the day. And I often found when I started with something super, super energizing, that my energy is really bouncy and going ping, ping, ping across to here, to there, to the next thing. And it's helpful on some days when I've got maybe things to do, but 9 times out of 10, I really find it nourishing to start from a really calm and clear, grounded place.
Yeah, and I don't know whether people have practiced the second class yet. I know yesterday when I was doing the live meditation with Drew, that a lot of people were going on to do his second class after the meditation. But I think what really struck me about your 2 classes is it's how they are different, and you really do have that very different energetic feel. And we were talking yesterday with Ju about energy and how it can vary so much, and I think that was also what struck me about your classes. And so often I think with restorative yoga, people feel it's one thing, and it just works in one way with your energy, but I think they are very different. So it'd be interesting to hear whether people have practiced the second practice as well. So I think we were also talking a little bit more about this theme of awareness, and I think that was one of the first things that when we asked you if you would be you'd like to come on and lead a meditation. I think that's the word you came up with, and you really wanted to focus on awareness. So I'd just be interested in knowing a little bit more about what awareness means to you, and in what, in this context particularly, because obviously it's a word that can have so many different definitions and permutations.
I kind of feel with awareness that it's more about how we can come into a deeper place within ourselves with this clear, true perception. And from that place that's clear, that's calm, that's quiet, how we can then meet the moment and whatever it has to present. So I use an awareness practice when I'm teaching the restorative classes. I'm pretty sure it's a shorter video that's listed as well with my classes. And I think it's important to bring that in, especially because most of the way I teach is without music. And I really want everything included. Everything is included. Nothing should be rejected, changed, or fixed in any way. And or when, at least when we're practicing, and this practice very much for me has been a practice for life, and sort of is really helping me navigate what we're all going through now as well. But I find more and more that when I can welcome sounds and thoughts, my emotions, sensations in my body, when I can welcome all of that just as it all is, there's nothing left undone. There's nothing that I have to, I guess, try to do. It's just me, and everything is okay when I can just welcome things as they are, because they all dissolve, they all change, and things keep coming, and things will go. And at the end of the day, it's the essence that's left beneath it all. That's what this practice gets to for me, and that's what I invite people to explore. And that's why I hold it the way that I do, because this is like life skills in a really calm, safe environment. And anything that you're feeling is welcome. Anything that you're experiencing is welcome to this practice. So yeah, I guess that's a long answer to awareness.
It was a perfect answer to awareness. And as you were speaking, I was just thinking that to me sounds like meditation. So it's perhaps, and I know all of asana practice is meditative and can be practiced as a moving meditation, but restorative yoga really helps you to, particularly welcoming whatever arises and working with that. It is really interesting. I think Zoe's said in the comments, when you say we will hold the poses for so long, I sometimes get a bit anxious, but I actually really love how settled you become through staying that long and with it being silent, which is, I think, very much what you were saying.
Yeah, it is unusual to be in silence like that. And even in my practice, in my teaching journey, it was really hard not to want to fill that space with something, music, talking, movement. It's really confronting. And I think that can cause anxiety for some and quite natural, but it's the staying there and witnessing it all move through and pass, and then experiencing what's left beneath that is really, really powerful. And you feel it and remember it, and it's there, and you're going to be okay the next time those feelings arise.
And I think what's really interesting is in the comments we're getting both from Susanna and Sandy, that they both felt resistance, that they've to the length of time, but and it felt impossible. It felt like a massive feat, and yet they were able to relax into it. And I think the legs up the sofa with the bolster, the legs up the bolster, I really love and have nicked and stolen that bolster on 2 bricks and put that into a lot of the classes I teach. Right. But I think it is interesting, that sense of resistance, so that I think this is, although physically it doesn't challenge us quite in some ways that some very pretzel-y yoga poses can do, I think it challenges us so strongly in other ways that it can be a very challenging and confronting practice. And yet I think it very much, for me, does feel like yoga in action, having to be with yourself and whatever comes up. And I think I was saying also before we came on air that I'll be interested in whether people found it particularly challenging at this time just to be with her, because we've been it feels a little bit like we've been given orders to be with ourselves, and now we're by practicing in this way we're putting ourselves into that position
with the resistance. Just want to speak to that quickly.
Yeah,
I find that this practice allows us to cultivate resilience, and by being there and allowing the resistance to exist without going into the story of it, without any, I guess, elaboration, just letting it be there. Because, on a bigger scale, if we look at life, we're being asked to do restorative yoga and we're kicking and screaming. If we just allow that resistance to be there, and I'm not saying I've got it perfect by any means. It's a practice for me all the time, and I think that's why I've come to teach it as well. But it allows us to see what we're truly made of. It allows us to hold ourselves, to parent ourselves in many ways, and to cultivate this resilience. Like, we're obviously working with the immune system in this practice a lot, so we're building that immune support. But I think it's an emotional and mental resilience that we can develop in a really loving, nurturing, calming way that's so soothing for us at the same time. So I just acknowledge everyone that moved through the resistance that they felt with this practice, and my invitation is just to keep coming back to it. We keep going to work on the physical asanas that are challenging and that we have resistance to, and we have a determination to move through them and improve them and master them. Can we apply that to what we meet in a restorative practice and allow us to cultivate this resilience and this connection to ourselves in the same way we would a handstand?
And we might find we're not so scary after all to spend 12 or 18 minutes with. We've had a question from Anne as well, asking whether we can do the first session this evening. Zoe says she just has and feels great. And absolutely, I think although the first session is about cultivating vitality, you'll feel really good, but it's not going to get you so
Yeah.
hyperactive that you won't be able to sleep. You'll feel great.
I mean, especially if you're new to exploring restorative yoga, um, an evening practice seems like a really nurturing thing to do, especially if, you're finding this time extremely challenging. Like, it can be a very soothing thing to do. If you've been practicing for a while and you find yourself more sensitive and responsive to this practice, try and avoid doing it super late in the evening. It would be my advice, because it can disrupt your sleep if you do it too late, if you're more sensitive to it. So it's something that you sort of gauge as you explore and deepen your practice.
Sandy says she loves the silence and finds music distracting. And I love the silence as well, particularly within restorative yoga. Although I don't tend to play music when I practice any yoga, but it's just another layer, isn't it, on top of everything else that might be going on in our head.
That's the thing. I found that that's always how I was practicing, but also teaching wise, it's a very emotive practice, because usually a lot surfaces that maybe doesn't in other forms of practice, and music can be triggering as well. So the silence is medicinal, can be very loud at first, but at the end of the day, it's just so beneficial. And it's, in a class setting anyway, playing music can invoke more tears than necessary.
And because we all have different associations with different music, don't we? And it speaks to each of us in a different way. So but maybe it's quite nice to sometimes separate those two and have music, listening to music as a completely different practice of its own.
We'll have a bit of silence in this meditation too, so you'll enjoy that as well, hopefully.
And I think we're almost at that time, and I'm going to practice along. But if I peep an eye open, it's just because my internet's been occasionally a little unstable, and
That's okay.
I might just be peeking to make sure we're connected, because I don't want to cut everyone off. But yes, I think as you said, that we're really going to be focusing on our theme of awareness through this meditation. So I'm going to hand over.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks so much. For the meditation, I just want to invite, I can't see anyone else except you, but I want to invite you to be really comfortable so that you're receptive. So a long spine, whether you're seated or lying down in some way, just give yourself a moment to do that. And I'll pretend that can see you all as you get yourself ready. Yeah. So whatever shape that you've decided to make, use the next few moments to really settle in, adjust your clothing, adjust your coverings if you need something over your body. And if it feels safe for you, let your eyes close down. And you can keep them very softly open, just blinking or seeing through the tips of your eyelashes if that's more comfortable for you. And there's this attunement to breath. So the sensation of your body breathing, feel the air move in through your nose, all the way down the throat, past the heart, towards your belly, even to the pelvic floor as you breathe in. And feeling the movement of body as the breath moves back, up and out, maybe through the mouth this time. Don't have to keep up with my guidance, but just feeling these places, the nose, breath caressing the back of the throat, the heart, the belly, all the way to the pelvic floor on the inhale, this fullness. And on the exhale, rising up from the pelvic floor, belly, heart, throat, and either the nose or the mouth. Whatever's more comfortable for you, just staying with the sensation of body breathing for a few more cycles of breath. And permission to sound or make sound or a gentle sigh if that feels good. And that can be any time during the meditation, but sometimes you need to just hear that. And bringing your attention to the sounds in your environment. Just noticing the sounds as they come, as they go. And even noticing the spacious silence, if that's present for you. Connecting to the sweet symphony of sound in your environment. And perhaps on your inhale, there's this sense of welcoming all of the sounds exactly as they are. And on the exhale, there's this melting, becoming one with your experience of sound. Attention turning to any smells available, however strong or subtle they might be. And again, this support of the inhale, an invitation to really welcome the smells available to you. And your exhale, an invitation to melt and become one with the experience of smells. Attention to sensation in your body. It could be as simple as the sensation of your body breathing. The sensation of clothing to skin. Of earth or support to your seat. Or the way the air caresses your skin. Something entirely different, whatever sensation is speaking to you. And this invitation with inhale to fully welcome sensation. Exhale, melting into becoming one with sensation, allowing it to be. Observing any thoughts. All thoughts are welcome. Exactly as they are. And again, leaning into the supportive breath. Inhale, welcome. Thoughts, energy of thoughts exactly as they are. Exhale, melting into, allowing them to be part of your experience, a valid part of your experience. Tension settling now on any emotions that are present. Welcome feeling with inhales. And exhale to support you into melting into the experience, allowing the support of the breath. Always there, this invitation to welcome whatever your experience might be, a feeling, a thought, a sensation, a sound, a smell, whatever your experience might be, moment to moment. Can you meet it? Can you welcome it? Inhale as your support. And this exhale, this melting into your experience. There's nothing you need to change, fix, or even resist. Really being with your experience, being with yourself. In the silence for the next few minutes, there's an opportunity to simply be with yourself, whatever presents for you, using the support of your breath, just like we have been doing these past few minutes. Can you bring a little of your attention now towards the center of your chest? 360 degrees awareness to the center of your chest. Just resting into heart space. And again, practicing this sense of welcoming sensation, welcoming emotion, thoughts, welcoming the sound of heartbeat, all with your inhale. Welcome. And this melting into energetic heart with exhale. Just being open as you can be to whatever is arising as you rest into your heart space. And through being with whatever is presenting moment to moment, can you become aware of what exists beneath that? Get curious. Exhaling to support this melting, this settling back into what exists beneath everything that you're meeting. Letting go of any judgment. And just being with whatever is there. And if you're not able to rest beneath it, that's okay. That's okay. Can you connect to the wholeness and that okayness? Can you connect to the love that is you, the essence, the formless, the timeless, that part of you that is eternal? Can you feel into that rest, into that breath as support? Inhale, welcoming whatever arises. Exhale, resting and melting into your experience, whatever that is perfect. It's another few moments. Breathing and being. You may wish to allow your hands to move intuitively, maybe to an area in your body, possibly your heart space. They may stay exactly where they are. But the placement of hands just to really hold yourself in this moment. Welcoming touch with your inhale, this opening into this loving connection from you, returning back to you. And exhale to start to let the practice go. Maybe with some sound. Really taking your time and some awareness to your eyes, and only when it feels like the right time for you, slowly start to open your eyes, just meeting your environment and allowing them to softly close again. So you're just traversing the internal landscape, meeting the external. Just taking your time to do that before you feel comfortable to settle once again with your eyes open.
Thank you, Adrianna. That was really, really lovely, and it's amazing how quickly that really allowed me to drop in. So thank you very much for that. And we may still have people just start slowly emerging. So if people are still emerging, do
take your time.
Do take your time. Don't allow us
No, don't rush.
to hurry you. And you know, if you want to continue to rest, that's perfectly okay as well.
Yeah. I often find that there's usually not many words after a restful practice or even meditation. So, you can always just send a message later on if you need to, if you want to stay in that space.
Absolutely, and I think that there are people that do these classes on replay, and if you are watching this at a later time, then you're also welcome to type into the comments box, and we'll certainly pick those messages up as well, maybe at a later time.
Yeah.
So I think what I've been musing on a little bit was really how something like restorative yoga can really help us navigate the way or the situation we find ourselves in, because it feels like it's a really powerful tool. Anne's just said thank you. It was beautiful. It certainly was. I echo that. But yes, how can people really lean into this practice of restoration to perhaps calm and I know that all the emotions we're feeling, I think everyone's feeling so many emotions. It's not just one thing, is it? But whether it's a sense of anxiety or a sense of feeling trapped or frustration or even grief, how can we allow this particular practice to support us with that?
Well, it's as simple as what we just explored. I think we can overcomplicate things. What this practice has given me is the ability to open myself up to whatever I'm facing, whatever I'm feeling, and some, really hard things. And so it can be as simple. And I love how it's because you can bring it to your life. It's a breath to welcome whatever you're feeling without having to change it, to let yourself experience that, even if it's just for one breath, if you can remember in those moments, because I know that's hard as well, but to open yourself up to the possibility of meeting whatever needs to be met from that place, beneath it all, behind it all, that yeah. So I think that would be the one thing I would suggest. And then if you're new to restorative, and are looking at a whole hour-long practice and that feels too much, one pose, a few minutes, it doesn't need to, if it's overwhelming, just cut it down to make it manageable, because it is a vital skill to learn. Everything in nature rests. The winter, prime example, we can't have the beauty of spring and summer and all of that without the winter time. So we need the rest. It's like the pause at the bottom of the exhale. Like, we need these moments so much. Our lives depend on it. And so much is happening in that pause that we can't describe. It's like a deep non-verbal experience. And that's why it might be hard to say something at the end of a restorative class, because you've gone to places that you can't access in other ways.
Yeah, and I love that thought of welcoming whatever it is in, and it's almost giving yourself permission not to beat up on yourself, not to sort of think that was the wrong thought or the wrong feeling, or why am I feeling that, and I should be feeling a certain way, because I guess you are feeling the way you are because that's your experience unfolding. I think Susanna's said the sensing beneath during the meditation revealed a sensation of fear at these times we're living in, but I was able to be with it compassionately and safely. Thank you. And I think that's something very special, isn't it? Being able to be with with emotions that are challenging and difficult.
Because it's not only with ourselves. When we can really practice this and live this, we can offer and extend this to other people. It's like the vibration that we settle upon is very different, and it's so nourishing to be in the presence of someone who is able to be present with themselves. You don't even have to say anything. So it's so important, and just, well done for staying with that and opening yourself up to the possibility of being with the fear and allowing that to move and to shift through and to arrive at a place as well. It's just so beautiful to hear that in such a short time. Well done.
Yeah, and we've had thank yous from Sandy and Heidi, who's feeling very chilled. And then we have a comment. Yes, I also became aware of some very mixed emotions and realised I'd been quite disconnected. So the sense of, and I guess that's the awareness. The awareness is at that moment that you realise that you've been feeling disconnected or distancing yourself from what you've been feeling.
Yeah, I mean, you're not alone in that at all, and it is very mixed moment to moment. It changes all of the time, especially with what we're all navigating now. It's just such a valuable tool to even just a minute or two just to practice being with what's there.
And
I can't stress that enough. It's just so powerful.
And I think what's really interesting is that we've been practicing your restorative classes today, and then you've been able to lead us through this meditation, and it feels like the restorative yoga really does help to prepare us for these moments when strong emotion comes up, and we are able to be okay with that. And it can be challenging because sometimes it can feel really overwhelming, but I think it is.
It can be, but it can also be blissful. Like this practice will show you so many things that a movement practice can't. Just through the power of silence and stillness, we can meet so much and travel to so many different layers of ourselves. And some days it's really challenging. Like it is challenging for me to be still some days, and some days I'm really annoyed at the end of a practice, and it's okay. It's like we're human beings and we experience a whole spectrum of emotions, and life will throw us so many different challenges all of the time, but there's no one outcome to look for at the end of a restorative practice. It's just this being that we're also often human doings that we need to practice just being.
And it's okay to feel all these different things as well.
It's healthy to feel all of the emotions at different times in our life, to have different responses to things. And if that means right now we're feeling all of the emotions in one day, that's okay.
Yeah, and to recognize them and to welcome them, and perhaps we are feeling them more acutely now, not only because of the situation we find ourselves in, which is not a happy one, but also because we have been made to slow down a little bit. And I find myself quite busy still. However, I am, and it's a genuine business in terms of needing to do things, but I also find myself alongside that really slowing down and actually taking more time and moments in the day where I can just be, and I'm not filling it with stuff, and it's a really interesting process of unpicking. So it's powerful to have these tools to be with ourselves, how we find ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much. It's been lovely, and I was just thinking the time has flown. It really has flown. I think I was really deeply in the moment during that meditation. Thank you so much. It was really lovely. And if people do have questions, if any of you watching have questions, if any of you watching on replay have questions, just type them into the comments box, and we'll certainly keep an eye on them. And in the next couple of days, I'll post a link to the awareness video that Adrianna mentioned. But if you look up the teacher's profile, you'll find it in there as well. But I'll post that in the group as well.
Thank you so much for having me, Raki.
Yeah, it's been lovely to have you. Thank you so much, and I look forward to doing it all again soon.
Yeah, have a restful evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.